we've had a couple of people. I put a recording on. We've had a couple of people join in the last 3 4 weeks since probably August. So I'm going to do a real quick review of our lender database, the 1.0. Those guys haven't seen. Nobody's seen it. I mean, I think we've done it since June. So I want to kind of do a review of our 1.0 database. So a lot of people have, can see it for the first time. Some people will be seeing it for the seventh time. But I want to make sure that everybody kind of gets a look at the 1.0 database. Hey, Greg, what's up? Marcelo, Glenn, Doris, Bill. So I'm going to kind of show that 1.0 real quick. I just want to show how to search it. You guys can download it. I just want to show what the search functions are. So people have asked about that for navigation purposes. Then I'm going to show a couple of documents that I've kind of been working on a little bit that kind of helps a little bit with new lenders. It's not perfect. It's in Word. I'm just going to show it to you. You guys can then download it and it's just a very generic uh, thing that I've been called step by step. It's really for really brand new people. I used to just send it to my client when I was brokering. I would send it out because it'd just be a generic to help them out or whatever. So I'm gonna show a couple more documents. I'm gonna show a promissory note, two of them, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We'll do a little bit more on direction of pay. All of next week is direction of pay, and then we're gonna go through the actual how to with the title company how to actually set up a direction of pay and how and all that stuff with the title company so you're paid as a lender that way. Like I said last week when I was talking about it, you guys are getting paid out of the assignment fee. If you're loaning EMD to a wholesaler, you are being paid back out of the assignment fee. So, which is so it's important to have that document. I've got a little bit more work to do now. I'm gonna have my one of my attorney friends is gonna review it on Monday and get it back to me Tuesday, so we can go through it in Wednesday. They're not writing it; they're just looking at a few things, and then it'll be generic. It may still have to be modified for states, and I won't do that because you guys will have to if you're individual states and all that, and I'll go through the whole that whole process. Next week is 100% direction to pay and all EMD lenders, and you guys are all set up. So tonight, like I said, I'm just going to really quick go through a couple of documents, and then I really just want to show you guys, like I said, a couple of things. Um, I got a couple of different documents also for getting questions and stuff. So this one takes a second longer because it's still in it's a pivot table, guys. So you can imagine this one's pretty. I know, and I think the stupid glitch I still have. Um, so I'm actually going to send this out. I'm going to explain a little bit about what we have in the database. So this is a lender database. I have quite a few lenders in it, and it's basically a pivot table. I've got a total of about just under 1,400 lenders. So I'm going to basically use this. I'm going to send that out again because, like I said, when you get into this list, you're going to see we only have like 800 or so. I have a different one that I'm not putting out. That's like my master. I will send it out in end of November. So I'll have a VA contact the ones that aren't on this. They'll go through it and they'll check it and see if we can add, out of the 1,400, if we can get 100, 200 back. At one point, I had like 1,300 that were active. So a lot of people went out of business. So you got three different lender lists. You got lender list one, you got lender list two, you got lender list three. We did have at one time we had about 50 that were duplicates. We actually have, I think we've got them all out. I'm just saying if you down the list and you just see a duplicate or something, just give me a heads up. Kind of just do it on Messenger, and I'll remove them or I'll get the virtual assistant. Some of these are a little bit consolidated as far as space goes. So I'm really just kind of going to show you a few features of it. I'm going to show you just the navigation. So you guys can download it out of files and it has a lot more lenders. So when you're actually looking for more lenders and you're looking for specific kinds of lenders and stuff like that, you might find, you go outside of, with obviously with Casey and Addison and Clint with their company, Willie, Simi, all the people that broker, you might find some, other ones that fit your needs. So this is a great, great system and it's in a pivot table. So it's not, it's not exactly perfect, but I think it's pretty solid. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. You can get a lot more fields. You can go pretty deep in this, but you guys can see you can get into ones that do like energy, working capital. I mean, there are some that do working capital or even land. Some will do equity, some will do SBA. So if you are seeking that, or if you see someone that's seeking that specialty type of lending, you can use this list to maybe try to find something. Maybe you can put a broker a deal together and get some points. Some of these lenders, if you contact them and tell them you got somebody, you can refer them, see if they'll pay a referral, see if they'll pay you as a broker. So it's a pretty cool list that way. So what you really want to do is, like I said, there's three separate lender lists. So one of the things you want to do is just go to the pivot lender list. And when you come over here, now you can actually start opening these fields. So you can actually pull up, you can pull up the different lender lists. So you can even go back here and just pull up the lender list and you can pull these all up, which is great. You get them first, obviously. This is all of them in alphabetical order, just by name. So keep that in mind when you're searching it. You got the name and all that stuff. But then you can actually start opening then you get the contact deep. Now it starts opening these up. So like I said, if you just, you go to the main list, it's alphabetical, go to contact, then it starts opening it up. So you get a little bit more information. I do apologize for some of the things. You got to remember I'm hiring VAs in like India and Pakistan. So you guys can kind of keep that in mind that sometimes these are a little bit stuck together. I'm going to try to do a fix on that in the next update. So I've had this list for probably 4 years, a little over 4 years, and we've used it quite a bit. So we're going to try to do a cleanup on that and make these like, separate these. So like I said, I do apologize for that, but all the information is there. You just have to do a little bit of work. I think I've done about 95% of the work for you, just so you can do that a little bit when you find a lender that's going to work for you. That'll work. So over here, you can go to like preferred lending type. It'll start showing up as mezzanine, farm, working capital, hard money. You can start going to secondary and you can see where it starts opening up again. And you can get other funding types. So you can go 3 or 4 different types of lending that they do. And then you got, so obviously, you got your table lender list two and you got your lender list three. So it's pretty simple. Like I said, guys, you can actually just, you can take this as far as you want. You can add to it too, obviously. I did have a VA do it. I'm not really skilled enough to actually make a lot of changes. I can do a few minor things. So I know if you guys, like I said, this is just a really good tool you have access to. So if you got 850 lenders, and we obviously said we have 1,400 altogether. If we get them all back, so a lot of them went out of business. So like I said, we may end up having less. We may end up having more. Yeah, I don't know until we actually do that update. That'll be in November. They'll have it done by the end of the year. So we'll have a new list. It'll be the 2.0. And then we've also got a list that I'm working on. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it to of about 10,000 contacts. You guys have probably seen me post about hard money lenders. I mean, about hedge funds, family offices. If anybody doesn't know what a family office is and what it does, let me know. They have endowment funds and pension funds. Then I have another database that I have access to now with another 10,000. So it's almost 20,000. And that's all known real estate investors. And there's 7 different databases. I also have 5 other databases that you guys probably won't need, like medical investors, technology investors, things like that, energy. But we have that coming to us, so you'll have access to that. And all these are going to be plugged into the virtual system once we do it. They're going to actually have a way to add that, so we can incorporate through AI searches and all that stuff. So, like I said, you guys can just download this. So, like I said, you just want to use that pivot lender list. You can close these back down. Just taking these out, and you can shorten it. So it helps a little bit, go down to all the lender lists and you can get down to, like I said, lender list three, lender list two, lender list one. And so when we add the ones that are hedge funds and stuff, we'll actually add more sheets. So just kind of giving you guys really just a quick view of that. So that's in the files tab as the 1.0 database. So anything you see 1.0, it's a pretty solid database. So if you guys want to use it, it's yours. It's free. It's there for you. Um, you can download it, use it as you want. If you don't use it, you obviously, you guys know you have Casey, you have Clinton, Addison's company, you have Willie, you have Simi, you have all the people that can broker money. Gwen's on right now. She's got a lot of capacity to help you. So does Erica Walker. And then we got a number, obviously, people that are doing EMD and Gap. I know Greg's on, Bill's interested in that. So other people, so we got about 20 associates that can do EMD and Gap, and we're getting them trained up to do that. So getting all of you guys trained. We want to have you guys all on equal, even if you're not training. If you're not going to be lending money, at least you're going to be trained as well as the people that are. That's kind of one of the things we want to do. So if anybody has any questions on the 1.0, like I said, it's pretty simple. You just go in those tabs and you can open it up as deep. It goes three different types of lending. And like I said, I do like apologize for a little bit of the stuff kind of convoluted. It's like stuck together in some areas. But I did have it's a pretty solid database. There's a lot of current. You can go and find the websites. You know, when we get into the hedge fund things, and maybe I'll do that in a couple of weeks. I'll show you guys the hedge funds and family offices. We have them broken down into North America versus like South America versus Europe versus Asia and Africa and all that. So you can find them. You know, you don't need all the ones in. You only need the ones really in North America. The ones who are going to do any kind of deals. But you can break it down into. You actually get the name at the hedge fund or family office. You get the contact names. You might get it by position. You might get like, hey, the chief operating officer. We might get something like that. But we do have the names. We do have the email addresses, the business addresses. We have what they invest in. We have their assets under management, their contact information, including, you know, believe it or not, a lot of banks and stuff on Wall Street still use fax. It's it's surprising. You know, I actually had somebody fax me something that came on my version, it was an email, but on their version, it came from I think it was pretty much an e-fax, but it still said fax on it. I was like, wow, JP Morgan's using fax. So I think they just cover all bases. So that's a pretty good 1.0 database for you guys, you know, if you want to use that. I'm just going to show this, trying to get a few more people on here before I go into the couple of documents I was going to cover tonight that are new. Some people have seen these, so I apologize. You know, I just want to make sure that everybody see these a couple, you know. So this is that step-by-step document, and I'm going to show this to you. Like I said, it's just in Word. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm kind of just filling about 10 minutes of time just for a few more people to get logged in. So like I said, this is just in very information. You guys can download this. I'll upload it tonight, the files, but it really just talks in my own language. You know, I talk a little bit about how to you know, here never do business with anyone you don't know, like, or trust. So there's a lot of good, just a lot of good information, you know, and there's some stuff in here that pertains to lenders. You know, this really is kind of like just a very basic document. You get into like call your broker, put them in touch with your borrower. There's things like that. A lot of times, like I said, I've been, you know, talking to new private money brokers when I was heavy into private money brokering, and that's all I was doing. I would actually sometimes I would send this out as to my clients or my, you know, other people. Like here we talk about the SAFE Act and Dodd-Frank. I can send you guys the information on Till and RESPA and the SAFE Act. That I'm not as I know what they are and all that stuff, the basis of it. Dodd-Frank was passed. That was Chris Dodd, who was a senator, and Barney Frank was a congressman. They were like really powerful finance committee chairman, and they were involved with the housing crisis. You actually see them portrayed in the movie, the Too Big to Fail movie. They're portrayed by actors, but the law Dodd-Frank is one that it basically goes into a lot of the deals with owner occupied versus lender, you know, versus investor properties. So that was obviously, like I said, Chris Dodd and Barney Frank. They were like two probably the most powerful members of Congress in the Senate ever. Those guys were like they were like in every, you know, things didn't pass if it didn't go through them. Kind of like, you know, remember Ted Kennedy, you know, those kind of people, you know, stuff just doesn't pass if it doesn't go through certain people. So we talk about this in very basic terms. I'm just showing it to you guys. If you just want to download it, you can read this on your own. So it's a very basic Word document. So it's called step by step. I just put it in there. And I got to talk about it, you know, you know, we talk about lending attorneys, you know, we talk about it, you know, there's a lot of attorneys and I call them lending attorneys, but really a lot of them are securities and real estate attorneys like Merrill Kells or Julian Sidoti, Paul Vincent and his brother. I forget what his brother's name is. Amy Wan. She's a big time securities and real estate attorney. She has a really a cool company. She can do everything. Like you send her all your documents to do a capital raise with securities on Monday. She'll have it all done for you by Friday. She uses all technology to do it. It's pretty sweet, but it's like 8 grand. Just so you guys know, if you ever raise money, you're going to spend about $8 to $10,000 minimum with an attorney. You're going to put on big deals. You'll spend more than that. Most of them have flat rates, like Gene Probidge at crowdfunding lawyers. They have flat fees, but yeah, if you start raising a lot more money than Regulation D, you know, than just like a property or a couple million, you can sometimes get a lot more expensive. But this is just, like I said, a very basic document, so you guys can just download this on your own. Not everybody won't pertain to everybody that's here. So I'm just showing you those kind of documents just to kind of familiarize a couple more. Okay, and then there's also another document that I kind of created for you guys. I created this a couple of years ago, actually, and uh, if you guys are dealing with, you're lending money, you're picking up clients and you got to interview them, this is a cool document called the intro doc. It is in files tab. So you guys can see, you can just download this. You can take if you download it to Word, you can use find and replace and take me out, put your own company in here. You can send this to your clients. So like Greg, if you're talking to people about lending money to them or whatever, you can actually use this as just an information gathering. Anybody that's lending money or anybody that's brokering, that way you can kind of gather the information you need. And then it helps you just gather the right questions. I have three different versions of this, but this was something that we created. I think I created about 4 years ago, and it's pretty solid because I can actually use this to kind of gauge what lenders I'm going to be taking this to. You get into like what projected income is, what they've experienced from flips. This is before you really get into a client fee agreement. Anybody who's going to be lending and stuff like that, I'll do that again in October. It'll be the third time we've covered it this year, but I want to make sure everybody's covered with that as well. If anybody's going to be brokering, if you're going to be a lender, you won't need a client fee agreement because they're a borrower, not a client. Whereas if you're a private money broker, you have a client. And but this works if you have clients or borrowers. So you guys can see where this is information. If they're looking to do a capital raise, you know which way to go. Then you can refer them to securities attorneys, and I have all the contacts for all six of my recommend bridge loan. If they're looking for a bridge loan, the bridge loans really can be like EMD and Gap as well now. Also can private money. We can we might add another one. We might add EMD or Gap. Uh, if they're doing a capital raise, you're going to want to see if they have a pitch deck or any kind of information like a pitch deck. If you guys need help with pitch decks, I can post a couple in the files tab, and I can actually send you a couple pitch decks. And we actually have our pitch deck that Kevin and Justin are working on in 2020. I posted it, even though it's like we're not doing that one now. And then obviously getting costs. You have experience doing flips. How many years they've done it, how many completions. We also have the experience forms, and we have those documented. There's experience of real estate owned and experience of real estate sold. Two documents there that you can just download them and use them. You can use them for yourself, where you can list all your properties, what you currently own, what you currently sold. If you're just getting started, you can use your primary residence, but once you get a few deals done, take your primary residence out there. That way, there's never a mistake of someone counting that into the capitalization either way, whether it's your assets that you currently own, what they can collateralize. You don't want a third party to start counting your primary residence as the collateral, because you really don't want to ever put your primary residence into your business. If it's going to be lending, if it's going to be a rental property, what's the income? Who will be managing the property? If it's going to be if you're buying a fourplex, you're managing it yourself. If you're buying 100 doors, 200 doors big, you start getting up there, you're going to start having property managers. This really gives information where you could take it to the Casey or somebody who's, you can take it to the EMD or the Gap lenders, but you could take it to the first position guys, you can take it to Willie, and it kind of gives them information on maybe what lender they need to go to. Because obviously there's if you're just starting out, they're going to want to see, okay, what's the income? And we do have a rental vetting worksheet, and it's in the files tab. So we have a 30-year rental vetting worksheet. It does go to 30 years. You cannot change it, unfortunately. You cannot change it to 10 or 20 years. So I apologize for that, but it does. If you're just starting out, it's still good to kind of figure everything out 30 years, even if you're not planning to have it that long, because the numbers work. And then you can kind of make modifications yourself. We also have one for short-term rentals for Airbnbs. We have a couple for multifamily and all that stuff. So we have 7 total analyzers. That's what we're going to be doing in October. We're going to be going over all those analyzers. So that 30-year rental vetting worksheet will be covering that. So like I said, this gets into what property acquisition are you doing? This really should say, agriculture could be land, property could be, if you're just doing a building, that could be a commercial, or you're going to fix and flip multifamily if it's new construction. So I would always put like building acquisition, use it as a commercial. Are you acquiring a shopping mall? Are you acquiring a car wash? Things like that. That would be more like a building. So anything else notes. So like I said, this is a good document that everybody who's brokering money or lending should download this and use it. And like I said, just use find and replace in Word and take me out. So that's another document we're going to kind of go through. You guys can download it use it if you want. It's just for you guys. I had great success with it because I was able to send it to my clients. I would do a Zoom with them and I would actually send this to them and have them pull it up and I would talk to them. So I'd go through it and then I'd answer the things. And by the end of the conversation, I could send them my client fee agreement, go over that with them, have them sign it while I'm on. So I have it. And then I've got the information to know if I'm taking it to Vizio, if I'm taking it to Kogo, if I'm taking it to Willie, or if I'm now these days, if I'm taking it to Casey or Addison, because obviously you guys know that even if you're not planning to broker money or get, you can send them referrals if you see somebody on Facebook or something in one of the real estate groups and they're looking for funding, try to use this intro document and tell them, hey, you can probably possibly help them get funding. You got some basic questions, let them know you can refer them to somebody, get them to Casey or Addison, and they will pay you on the referral. And you can go deeper. You can be a broker for them. If you go full loan officer, it's a different process. They do have really formal onboarding. But if you guys are referring properties to them, you'll get paid on it. So it's a good way to have a little bit of an income stream. Send them, if you start blowing yourself up, because we tell everybody, here's what you want to do no matter what you're doing. You want to have a Facebook page for your business. And you want to have a Facebook group. Your Facebook group is where you start building you start educating people. You're going to get a lot of clients. Promote yourself on your Facebook page, kind of have a good, clean page, have them name similar. So it's AAA funding or whatever. Hey, AAA funding, real estate funding group or whatever. Have some kind of quote for the group that have, obviously have the two names match up. So that way people can find you, then you can link them together. And you want to build your social media presence because when you're in those groups, you can start referring people to that group and start building one. Prior into the pandemic, I had 5,000 people in my real estate group, and it was kind of a nightmare. I mean, a couple of people were moderators, and it was like it did get overrun because my focus was on what we were doing. All of a sudden, when I had 1,000 people in there, it was a lot easier to. But by the time I had 5,000 people, I was like, into the pandemic, it was like it went kind of nuts because I didn't pay attention to it like May and June. When everybody said, "Hey, we're going to be back to work in 2 weeks," 6 months later, 2 years later, whatever it was. That's kind of a cool document to use. So I'm just going to go through one more, and then I'm going to go through some that I have to actually spend a little time on. So this is questions. It's a vetting sheet. It's similar to that info doc I just showed you guys. So this is just another variation. The nice thing about this one is you can use this one if you just want to stick it by your phone or, you want to carry it because if you start talking to a lot of people, like you said, this is the quick one. So you can get like name, you can get phone number, email, some information, state, purchase price. You can use just a very basic. So this one has enough for you to do. I believe it's 9. You can do 9, so it's a good thing where if you're taking multiple calls or if you see 9 to 10, 12 people a day on Facebook, you can just jot down their information and then that helps you keep your notes when you set up when you set up a call with them or something of Zoom, you can have the notes, just the basics. You can do like crib notes. So this is just another document. I want you guys to, make sure you guys are seeing this. Sometimes like I said, I apologize if you guys are new. There's like a glitch. So there you go. So that is what I call, it's just basically vetting questions. It's available for downloaded files as well. It's just another variation. Like I said, this is just, very much if you just want to take notes and you start talking to multiple people who could be clients, if you're a broker or borrowers, if you're doing EMD or GAP, you got a few questions just to remind yourself, because if you happen to be at somewhere like a restaurant or something or anywhere, and you start getting, you start seeing a deal and you don't have time to write a lot of stuff down, you can just write a few things down and keep your notes when you set up the call. So again, like I said, I'm showing you documents I have for you guys to download. You get an experience, what their exit strategy is, what their credit is, and you can explain to them that most lenders are looking to tier. They're looking to tier you. They're not looking to. They're not going to go deep on them. They're not usually going to do a hard pull. If they do, you're going to know that from the lender. You can tell them otherwise. But most of the time, you want to tell them they're going to tier you, which means are you going to qualify for a better rate if your credit score is a 750 than a 620? Yes, you're probably going to get a premier rate over 750. Over 700, you'll get the next rate usually, and that can vary. It could be 700, it could be 720, just depends on the lender. Casey's company does a lot of 620s and above, so it's pretty good. He has a lot of good options on his flip programs for Colorado, Texas, Arizona, and Nashville side of Tennessee, soon to come with both Carolinas and a couple other states, Florida. You can do no income, no credit check, no appraisal, close in 7 to 10 days. That's a strong program. And they can do a lot of deals. They can do a lot of stuff in 48 states. They only don't do Alaska or Hawaii. So that's just a document you guys can do this. Now I'm going to start showing you guys a little bit more in depth. And then I'm going to talk about direction of pay. So we all get paid, you know, everything goes through a title company, right? And some of you guys just saw this a couple of weeks ago. Again, some people haven't seen a HUD one. So I'm going to show you guys the HUD one more time. I can never stop showing people the HUD one. So it's not going to be, I don't believe they use it as much or if at all. You know, it really would depend on the lenders because it's not required in like commercials. So if you're doing like, you know, storage units, you're not going to see a HUD one. If you're doing a short-term rentals, you still may because it's still residential in a way. But the HUD is obviously, you guys know this HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development. Some of the stuff you're not gonna see. Now, if you're working with Casey's company and you get to a referral and they can do a VA or FHA, you may see it. You have to see if they actually send you the HUD one because most of the time, if you're working with them in that situation, you're just getting a referral fee. They can't legally pay you a broker fee. They can pay a referral. They can pay you for that kind of stuff. So some of this information is not going to pertain to anything you do. But if you're brokering or you're doing any deals with like Vizio or Kogo or Ground Floor or Lending One or Lima One, you're going to see a HUD one if you're doing anything with residential or single family. And so obviously it's the government, so it's or you'll see some kind of settlement. And generally, no matter what, you'll see a settlement if there's a title company. So this obviously has money due from the borrower, money due to the seller. So it's telling you where you guys really want to pay attention is where you start getting into the 1300s. So I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit so everybody can see this. When you start guys getting into the 1300s, you're going to start seeing like line 1302, maybe broker fee paid to, for me, it'd be paid to Nate Marshall Capital, and it would tell me there what my fee's going to be. And so the day before the closing, I will get a copy of this or some form of settlement, even if it is a multifamily or a storage complex or something, it would tell me what my broker fee is so I can verify that is the correct number. I will be dealing with the transaction coordinator in most cases if it's a small lender. If it's you guys doing your own EMD or GAP, you guys obviously won't be doing this, but you'll have some, obviously some communication to title company or the first position lender that's doing if you're doing EMD, we're going to talk about this next week. You're getting repaid at the closing. None of this is really going to matter to you except maybe line 1303 says there's an assignment fee being paid. That could also be somewhere else. Keep that in mind. But generally speaking, most of the stuff that's just going to be added that it's going to be like additional or supplementary is going to be in the 1300s. And so it may say assignment fee paid to XYZ wholesaling. Well, then you might have a deduction because let's say their assignment fee is $20,000. You loan them $5,000 at 15%. So that deduction is going to be $5,750. You want to make sure that if you are loaning them EMD, that you are verifying the day before or the day of in some cases, but the day before generally is when you'll get this. Make sure that you are seeing your EMD loan being repaid to you. And we're going to go into this in depth next week. Next week is 100% direction of pay and dealing with that. So, like I said on the HUD one, if you guys are doing, even if you're just a borrower, you guys want to learn the HUD one. Obviously, I got it in files like everything else, but you can get it obviously off the HUD.gov website. Since this is actually a U.S. government form, you guys can read through it. If you've ever bought a house, you probably see this everything. So there's a lot of stuff on there, estimates and stuff. But like I said, most of it is going to be as far as if you're borrowing, I mean, if you're a seller, you're a buyer, end use buyer, you're going to want to know, and this is good to learn anyway. But like I said, you don't really need to go in depth too much on it. Just remember that the 1300 section is going to be primarily where you're going to be concerned at. That's where they're generally going to add it. They don't do, a lot of assignment fees in conventional FHA, VA, owner occupied. So there isn't a line item for it. So anything that's an add-in line, like I said earlier, anything that's a line, added line item is going to be in the 1300s. So, and that's what I said. You just want to go through and check it and make sure you're getting paid correctly. Then, when it is, then you can provide. Generally, if you're brokering and you have a brokering arrangement, you're going to have already sent the letter you're brokering for your direct deposit information, your ABA number and your account number, and the name of the name of the PAE plus your name. So they'll put it into XYZ whatever consulting, and then they generally won't put your name on it, but you'll have your name on the thing anyway. So obviously, whatever your bank requires on the direct deposit of the wire. And obviously, sometimes I've paid a few wires fees incoming, but that was with the previous bank. So when you guys get a bank account and if you're a brokering or you got anything dealing with real estate like loans, you want to check with your bank that you have your accounts at and make sure, how they want it set up. And then kind of if you're brokering for a lender, see how they want to set up, because sometimes there may be a conflict. And that may decision if you need to go to a different bank or, whatever, we have to make modifications or things like that. I believe Cases Companies actually, if you guys want to broker for them and do referrals, they're actually probably one of the easiest like I said, if you guys want to make income, get your page up, your group up, and start, hey, put something together. Or if you're going to be, doing a lot of stuff with them, ask Casey if they can make you guys a landing page with your picture on it, and all that stuff, and your direct contact information, and use it on your page. They put in some tags. I mean, I can show you kind of how to do that. When you do that, I can do it one-on-one. You put in some tags, start bringing people in, start promoting that I can, I can help you in Colorado, Arizona, and Texas, Florida, the Carolinas, wherever, what kind of loan, because you guys get an income stream. Everybody on here wants an income stream. You want multiple income streams. So it's a great, great thing to do, guys. Get used to the HUD one. And like I said, it's the 1300 sections. So Greg, whether you're doing an EMD grab, you're doing your EMD lending, that 1300 section will tell you, that you're getting paid, by the title company, things like that. So anybody that's in here that's doing that, if you're brokering money, it's going to tell you as well. So I have a stack of them. I'll try to get a couple of them. I just want to redact, and I don't know how. I got to figure out how to do that where I can redact my client's information because I just don't want to, obviously confidentiality. But I want to maybe show you guys some finished ones, and I have a couple of you guys can see where everything's filled in. The transaction coordinator is like the hall monitor in school, or the milk, whatever they call them. The sixth grader, and when you're in fourth grade and the sixth grader, that make sure you only take one milk. That's who you want to be the transaction coordinator. If you're going to hire somebody, you want somebody that's not not a nice person if things aren't done right. You want somebody who crosses the T's, dots the I's, and X's the X's. Make sure that everything's right and correct, because that's where you guys are getting paid. That's where the money, the HUD one and the settlement forms are where the money's. It's basically telling you where all the money's going, and that's probably one of the most important forms outside of forms that have signatures and initials. So just the way it is. So just to kind of give you guys that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more. We'll have a little bit more discussion after I go through a couple more forms. I know people get fatigued on forms, and I do too. That's why I don't go through them line by line. Everybody has a different learning style as far as doing paperwork. And like you guys have questions, you guys know, reach out to me. I'll go through some of the questions. I'm just going to do this really quick on these three documents, and then we're going to go to discussion. These are examples, obviously, your different states, and obviously for lenders and stuff, you may have different examples. But we talk about, anybody has a mortgage. I mean, all of you guys have bought houses through a mortgage. So we're going to be doing this as part of a package that'll also include your direction to pay. You'll have promissory notes. After next week, you'll have the direction to pay. You'll have promissory notes and mortgage documents. I have not shown this one. This is very generic and very basic. So I'm just going to point some things out. I'm going to upload it tomorrow. So it's not uploaded now, but it will be uploaded tomorrow. And make sure you guys, when you guys go through any forms that you download from me, make sure you go through and look for county and state, because you don't want to be like in Ohio and accidentally, have a state like have Iowa. Make sure you take those out with find and replace. You can also just copy and paste these, put it in Word, make your own. So this really is more for, you guys just want to kind of go through these. In some cases, if you guys are just loaning EMD, you're going to use direction to pay and that contract, that document I'll have next week, but there are promissory notes. I'm going to show those to you guys next week. But we get into like, mortgager, mortgagee, if you guys know the difference between them, mortgagee, it talks about like receivership. You guys remember that when you were dealing with investors and you're dealing with non-owner occupied properties, there is judicial and non-judicial. That means that states where you can do foreclosures and they're easier when they're non-judicial. You can actually, if you're a lender, you can actually foreclose on the property a lot easier in a non-judicial state. So there's a lot of things once you guys are lending money, you need to work on. As an EMD lender, you do have an interest in the property if it goes past the closing. You are, like I said, we keep emphasizing because people have asked me when they join, they want to be EMD lender. How safe is my money? You are being repaid at closing by the title company out of the assignment fee. So if it goes past the closing and you're still involved with the deal, then you're a gap lender, and you will know the difference between that. So if you don't want to be a gap lender, you won't you're not going to have anything that goes past the closing date. If you're a first position lender, you're doing a flip, you're going to have interest in the property in first position until obviously they sell the property, they pay you back. But if they don't pay you, or the time experience, you can foreclose. It's judicial and non-judicial. I do have a map that's color coded. I will try to find a way to. I may just have to like screenshot it. But I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it is just screenshot it, crop it, and post it as a JPEG or something. So I'll try to do that this weekend too for you guys to see the states that are judicial versus non-judicial. I'll have a little bit of an explanation, but you won't have to do too much of it if you're just doing EMD. If you're doing GAP, you'll still be on the note after the closing. If you're a wholesaler, obviously you're out. If you're a flipper, it's you sell the property. Well, we do talk about like we may do it again in October. Kevin just checked in, so I might have to uh, let him know we may have to do our broker presentation and our logic of lending in October again because we got some new people. We'll find a time to do that. We got two PowerPoint presentations that are pretty sweet, and we do have those. If I don't have them uploaded, I'll get those uploaded again too. I've been kind of working on them a little bit, adding some stuff to it. But we want to show you guys how decisions are made, and we want to talk to you about the 7 E's, which include entry strategy, executive summary, exit strategy, experience. There's 7 E's. We'll talk about the 7 E's some other time. I know you guys are kind of
think about doing that on Columbus Day weekend or Columbus Day week. That's a federal holiday, banking holiday,
or whatever other holiday they've changed it to, because I think that one got changed to the name. At least in Colorado, it's something else now.
Oh yeah, which holiday is it? Let's spin the wheel and find out.
So you guys all don't know, like this is really long, guys. I'm just gonna upload this for you guys to download.
Not the one in the middle of the month. How's that?
Yeah, there's like some really weird holidays. They just changed about ovens.
Yeah.
So I'll go through the promissory notes, the two, and then I apologize for going through documents again because I've been telling people I don't really like to. People are fatigued with documents. I get it. I get it too. Because sometimes I'm like, what do I miss? Promissory notes. So you guys will be using promissory notes more if you are a EMD lender. You'll have. Let me see if you guys can see that. I hate this damn thing. So I don't know why I have to keep checking in and out. So you will be using a promissory note more than a mortgage note if you are, and you'll have the direction to pay, and you want a copy of the PSA, which we talked about last week, the purchase and sale agreement. I did delete the two of the three because I posted it 3 times. So you guys want to download that document that says purchase and sale agreement because it talks about EMD. If you are an EMD lender, you want to see their document. You want to make sure that, and if you are lending them money, you have a right to have them do, you want to get a copy of all the documents that are signed between the seller and the wholesaler and the buyer. Because like I said, you are loaning the money on the A to B, you are being repaid on the B to C from the assignment fee. That is where you are repaid. That is where your safety net is. The lender has to pay you out of that money or it doesn't close. And you put that, and that clause is going to be in there. You're going to see that next week. It basically tells and it's going to be initials. There's your initials and their initials. that you're telling the title company that this is a loan that has to be repaid. The loan cannot close without you being repaid. And that puts it on the title company, because if they do that, if they just don't pay, sending them money, you can sue them. I know suing a title companies probably sucks, but so like I said, you guys can download this. I'm just going to show you this one. I have two of them. I have a shorter one. You guys want to pay attention in this to obviously the title disclosure. Borrower discloses that the subject property is currently in pending litigation. If it's if it's still in foreclosure and it hasn't closed yet, and they're buying it out of foreclosure, they're buying it at auction, and it's still going to be in litigation, even if it's been, obviously the closing, you buy it from the seller, and the note's going to get paid off. You're going to see that on HUD-1. There's $138,000 it's owed to the county or whoever or the bank that's foreclosing on them. So some cases you may have a title disclosure. So make sure when you guys are reading documents, you look for the title disclosure, verify if it's being bought out of foreclosure or at a sheriff's auction, because sometimes it doesn't actually, like I said, it doesn't get out of litigation until that bank or that sheriff or that whatever tax clerk is paid. If their taxes owed on it, it's the tax clerk. If it's foreclosure, it's the sheriff or the bank. So obviously, and then we don't go too much. I'm not really going too much into you guys in lead generation, because I'm a huge supporter of Privy, and Benson can do a lot better on job if you guys decide you want to get Privy. He's the best in the business. His presentations are awesome. I mean, so obviously you guys get a default to acceleration, and you guys have seen a lot of stuff. Well, this is note. You guys have seen a lot of discussions lately, probably in real estate groups, about subject to, and banks call the notes due, and they are. And banks are starting. I know Gwen's on, so I don't know if I talk to Gwen and Erica, since they've got banking experience, obviously, and a lot of people. I know Clint and stuff. I'd like to hear Clint's opinion on this, but I think a lot of banks are starting to wise up to subject to, and they're starting to get their, it's just like they have a fraud department that finds, like, some stupid thing you actually did yourself on your credit card, but the bank doesn't. It's you. There's a lot of things that they are starting to put in place, and like we talked about a little bit with the economic stuff we've been talking about, banks are protecting themselves right now because banks are getting killed by the economy and a lot of the bad, everything. So I would expect maybe the next 6 months to a year to start seeing a lot of banks being able to put together kind of things that maybe using AI or technology to start detecting subject tos and start calling notes due. So you're going to always want to, as an EMD lender, gap lender, a broker, a borrower, a first position lender, default and acceleration clauses. He's getting the notes, he's getting the performances. Obviously there's intent, there's issues that are intent. There's, things like that. You're going to see where in every note there's a clause for that they can't just, they have to tell the bank and the lender that anything they're doing is transferring the property, because the bank doesn't want to have somebody who's credit worthy hand the property off to somebody else who's paying payments who's not credit worthy, because they just found a loophole called subject to. I don't necessarily, and I'm going to be open about this. There are things I actually do put into guides, and I do put into the discussions, because you guys might feel comfortable using them yourself. I would not, but that's my personal thing. I wouldn't do it. I'm never gonna sit there and like tell you because I disagree with something. I don't support anybody else doing it. If you feel comfortable doing it, doing something too, by all means do it. I'm putting the information in there so you can do it. Hopefully you do it in a right way. But because I don't believe in that. I don't believe like if I disagree with something, I'm not gonna sit there and try to persuade you to not do it. Because it is a good strategy, but you do have to be careful that and know that if you're doing subject tos, if you're a borrower or your client, or if you're doing EMD, and even if you're doing EMD and you're going to be out at the closing, you still pick up on something where something may be off. You could back out. You can put your clause in there that allows you to get out of the deal to protect yourself. Because I do foresee banks starting to crack down on subject tos. They are well. My friend who's a banker at Evergreen at U.S. Bank, he said their mortgage department knows that they're starting to look at things when payment starts going to from someone else. If they're used to, somebody's had the property for 10 years, they've done 120 payments, all of a sudden 6 payments show up from somewhere else. Is the servicing company going to pick up on that? And that, they should, hopefully, because, you want to, I don't know, it's just a touchy subject when you start getting this subject to. And that's a big thing the Gators are into and Base Morbius is into. They have a huge subject to thing. So I kind of disagree on that. But I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm never going to persuade you or try to persuade you to not to do it. It's just something, just make sure you protect yourself by learning about something before you employ a strategy. And I've got all the information guides and all the documents, but you guys start getting into favorability, counterparties, all that stuff. But I said the biggest thing is really just learning how the clauses work, escalation and all that stuff. Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Still here on me.
Cool. So I'm not going to do any of my documents. Everybody's kind of everybody's docked out. I can tell. Everybody's got. Um, I kind of, I've done this a lot, so I kind of.
Eventually, he's going to end up inventing more documents because he's going to feel like.
No, I'm actually running out, guys. Literally, I'm going to do.
You know that, right?
I'm going to do once we do direction of pay. Really, there's really not. I mean, there's the analyzers. Analyzers we still got to go through, but analyzers are going to be more fill in the blanks. I'm actually going to be using one of those Zoom maps, and we're going to be going through deals. You guys can. I want you guys to know how to use the analyzers. So next week is direction of pay. It's going to be all direction of pay and get you guys set up. So Greg and all you guys, yeah.
Don't even think about trying to invent another analyzer either. Okay, we're gonna have to put a stop on this right here. I have to put a hard stop on this stuff now, Nate.
Damn. Yeah. All right. So does anybody have any questions about the documents? If you guys know where to find them, you can, I know that some states have different requirements. So I can't I'm putting a disclosure out there that I don't have a document that covers every state. If you use it as a generic, you may still have to find one of those in specific states. If you're loaning money in somewhere, you need to make sure that who you're lending money to is if they're a wholesaler, because a lot of times the wholesalers are coming to you and if they're doing an EMD, they're obviously sometimes using their own title company. So you're going to want to make a connection, contact the title company and make sure, and even if you have your own form, send it to the title company and make sure they're comfortable using it or they have a suggested way. So there is a little bit more work in an EMD. Sometimes you can't be too passive where you just don't do anything and there's a little bit of work here and there. But obviously if you're just doing EMD and gap, or just EMD actually, like I said, it's A to B, B to C. You get the purchase and sale agreement, you get direction to pay, and you got a promissory note. And you're checking all that stuff out because you are being repaid. It is a loan. It is not, it's not, and it has to be somehow in the settlement. Whether they use a HUD one, or they use any kind of settlement, they've still got to show it to the title company. So, they come up and they say First American Title. Well, First American Title is pretty cool. They're pretty good, and they do a lot of stuff with real estate investors. So they are comfortable. If you do private lender law, you guys are looking for your own, really somebody to be like you start doing a lot of this enough that you start needing your own vendors. We can refer you to them. One of them is John Hornick. I'll put his name in there, privatelenderlaw.com. He's a lawyer. His has a law firm. His law firm does all 50 states. And I met them at they were a sponsor. He was in the booth next to me at the Pitbull Conference 2019. I went to the last one before the pandemic that was live. John Hornick is awesome. So I'll put his name in the chat real quick and I'll put his company. If you guys need your own advice, it's awesome. If you need your own legal counsel, if you need if you need a closing company, because if you're going to loan your own money, you do have a right to make sure that whoever you're loaning money to is doing it. It's your money. Make sure that they have they do it the right way. They do it your way. They may still use your title company, but you have a clause, and you'll have a clause in your contract, direction to pay and all that stuff, and their agreement with them, a clause that basically allows you to back out. If something comes back and it's not right, you can back out without penalty. You don't owe a single penny if you withdraw from the deal. If they withdraw, they can sometimes pay you fees, but title companies aren't usually going to enforce fees or whatever. A lot of people ask me about EMD loans and say if I loan EMD money and somebody backs out and they've used my money because I've set that money aside for 30 days, I'm going to say probably not, your 99% chance you're not going to be able to collect a fee for them renting the money, even though their money was never, it gets sent back to from the title company. You wire the title company 5 grand, you're going to get 5 grand back. You're not getting 5 grand in a penny. Even if you have an agreement with them that they
Yeah,
owe you
that's the
money.
reason why the rates for EMD is high as it is to be able to make up those things.
And guys, keep in mind that Gators are asking 50%, as high as 50% for EMD. They're like trying to do as a joint venture. Hey, if I give you $10,000, you're paying me 15,000. I would suggest not go into that because eventually they're going to get cracked down on. And if you are in the 10, 12, 15%, you're still going to make really good money. And you can rinse and repeat and you can get some of their business because people will start going to you like, why would I give them 50% when I could go with, I could go with Doris and pay her 12 or whatever. Go to 10, yeah, go to 10%, 15% maximum. You're still going to make money. I want you guys to do this on a rinse and repeat basis. So like we've been talking about, you break it up. You take 25,000, you break it up into 5,000 increments. You do that over 5 weeks. Then the next 5, 6 weeks, we talk about 4 weeks actually, but generally I say five. Just kind of make a nice number. If you got 25 grand, go five. You got 20 grand, go to kind of make a little bit of smaller increments. That way it's rinse and repeat week after week after week. Then you can add in that principal, that interest to that principal, and then the next week, so you do 5,000 for 4 weeks, let's just say, and you do it at set, and you get 750 each of those 4 weeks. Now you got 3 grand on top of that period. You could do 8 grand, or you could break it up and do, maybe do 5,500 or 6,000 increments or whatever. And the next 4 weeks, you do more. You keep adding the interest on top of the principal. At some point, you guys can pull all your principal back and you're loaning house money, you're just like the casino. And so I also, like I said, and I can't, you guys hear me this just about all my government business days. You also know that I do not recommend going all in. And I'm going to say that on, everybody kind of hears me every week, like verbatim or whatever ad nauseum. Uh, I, I just ask you not to go all in or even go half. And if you got 20 grand, don't go 10,000, go like five. Get yourself feet wet, get yourself comfortable. You guys know, obviously I'm a Colorado fan and Deion Sanders is a coach. He just said a thing. He said, I'm not comfortable yet. You don't want to like me when I'm comfortable. He's talking about coaching Colorado. You guys know, like right now, they're like the biggest story in all of sports. And he said that you don't want to see what I can do when I'm comfortable. And so you guys want to get comfortable. You want to become so good at this that you got a client base of people just coming out. You're like, hey, you build up to $100,000, $200,000. We got a lot of people with money, anywhere from 2,000 to over 100,000. Brian Kramer's still working on with his group. He's going to bring 5 or 6 of his friends. They all have 100,000 or more. Collectively, I think we have 2.5 to 3 million. So we want to start getting that deployed. But again, when you're comfortable, it's not when I'm comfortable. If you need more help, if you want to get more, you need to get more resources and one-on-one time. October is going to be a great time for that. But if you guys want to start lending money, it's available. There's people in the group. So I'm encouraging everybody who's watching and everybody who's on to start like talking in the group. Say, hey, if anybody needs any EMD help, post to the group. Obviously, we're a private, hidden, visible group. You guys know that from how many ways I have to invite you to get you in. Actually, there's like 3 or 4 different ways because Facebook sucks with that, unfortunately. Um, so I want you to, if you guys want to start really telling people, hey, if you're looking for EMD money or you're looking for gap money, if you're willing to do gap, if you're a first position lender, start, advertising in the group that you're available to do that. And you can start, or if they know anybody, have them screen that because you don't want just to send you people, have them screen a little bit. You've seen these 2 forms tonight. If you want to start, hey, if you reach out and you got you see somebody needing money, have them screen them. And then obviously you guys, work with Casey and Addison. They can set you guys up with your own landing pages where you can advertise. And it says it's got, you can send them a headshot. I just sent them my headshot and my contact information. And so that way I can send it out. People fill out the questions. And then when it gets sent in, I get a copy, they get a copy, and then I'll get a referral fee. You guys think about what you guys see in your inbox, in your messenger. Think about what I see in mine. It's pretty. Having to attest to you, I probably see 250 people a month hitting me up for loans and book funding. And once I was into the brokering business, I took to that 40-hour class I took with Lee Arnold. It only took me about 3 months before I really didn't even have to advertise. When people know you have access to capital and the lenders and you have access to money, you don't really have to advertise very long. but you guys want to have obviously your business domain, whatever you can go on Namecheap, you can get one for right now like $5, and it's like they give you like a 3 month trial on the email, and it's like 13.99 for the year. So for $20, you get I mean, you don't even need the website. You can do the website later on, but you got the business email. Get Zshine to make a logo for you, or join Canva. But Zshine can make a logo, business cards, and all that. He can make it look really cool for you, and then you guys do a lot of business that way, no matter what you're doing. You know, just hit up Jim, go into Jim's group, and sharing. Jim's group has what they call sharing Saturdays, so you guys can go in there and post your. You can if you're an EMD lender, you can go in there and post it on sharing Saturday. Find the specific post that he makes. Jim makes that every morning about, I'm gonna say right around 8 o'clock, because he's in Virginia. So right around Eastern time, 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, you guys can go post in Jim's group, 350,000 people. So think about how powerful that is. And you guys can reach out and join his group. I can give you guys a link. If you don't have it, I'll post it in the group tonight. Reach out to Jim and John Morey and say hi and all that stuff. Tell them you're part of our group and all that stuff. And they'll give you a little leeway if you kind of, sometimes some people go a little bit, they're moderators. I've been kicked out of the group like 8 times by their moderators, and I just go back. Hey Jim, I got booted again, and then I'm usually back within an hour or two, depending on what he's doing. So reach out to those guys and use sharing Saturday in his group, because you guys can build up whatever you're doing. If you're loaning EMD, if you're start brokering or doing referrals for Casey, things like that, start using those groups, and reach out to the moderators and introduce yourself, so that way they know you when you start posting. If you've never posted in those groups, um, I haven't posted in Jim's group for almost 4 years, so like I said, it's 350,000 people is a lot of people. And if you guys have money and you guys, you want to make sure you have your your email, and maybe a Facebook page for your business where people can see you and see a picture, and maybe do a video. Like, you guys' video is powerful. You guys know, if you're looking to do a financial deal, wouldn't you rather have somebody on video that you get to meet? You may not meet them live. You may be in Ohio and they're in Iowa, but you find a private lender, or if you're looking to loan money, you maybe want to talk to them on video. That way, that's why we're trying to do lending. Our deal night on Mondays. We want everybody to come in and actually meet each other. We can't all be together. Willie's actually on his way out to Colorado, so I'm gonna actually get to meet Willie. I don't know when he's got to tell me when he's gonna be here. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool. I've only met like maybe 5 people in the group personally, so definitely want to meet everybody at some point. We may have to do a conference or something next year. So then maybe we'll do it when Taste of Oregon happens, and everybody can eat all the restaurants for free.
There you go.
So that was fun last night. No, that was fun last night. You guys know, I just saw my post this morning. I entered my Bloody Mary mixture, and I took second place in the whole, like, in the category, and then I took sixth place. So I didn't even know they were bidding. They're like, "Hey, you need to bring 15 samples up for the judges." Like, judges. So yeah, so it's kind of fun. We had a lot of restaurants. We had rain though and lightning. It was pretty. I was like, I was just like, I'm gonna just call the fire chief now and tell him to start sending units to me. Um, so there's not a whole lot really outside of like direction to pay we need to go over until we start doing analyzers. And I know I'm gonna burn people out with analyzers. And if you guys want to download them yourself and even get used to them, that's cool. They are gonna. Some people are better at others, and obviously, if you're not doing one type of real estate deals, I mean, it's cool to come in and learn anyway. It's all Excel, so it's all entry. There's no programming, or you don't have to build anything. You can just download them and enter numbers. We're gonna do that all through October. Then in November, guys, for anybody that's watching, we're gonna have the securities attorneys. I've talked to 3 out of the 6, so I will have 1 or 2 on. And we're gonna talk about finders again. Another favorite subject of yours, Doris. Remember when we did SEC finders, how you can help people raise capital. Because there are some things you can do to legally help people raise capital, but there are some things you can't do legally to raise capital, help others. So we're going to go into that. We're going to go into the safe harbor. We're going to talk about Regulation D 506B and C. And then we don't do anything. We're not going to talk about A or anything, because they're really complicated. If you do Regulation A, your fees are going to be $25,000 to raise capital. If you're doing a Regulation D, you could really do it yourself. You shouldn't. I don't recommend it, but your fees are going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and all the attorneys usually have fixed fees, fixed amounts. these aren't attorneys as huge Wall Street firms. They have fixed products because they know that people are doing, like if you're doing multifamily properties as a syndicator, you're probably doing individual raises for each property, unless you have you're building a fund where you have, which is great, but what do you do? How do you make the investors returns when you just have a fund? Rather than you're buying a property, you're putting that money to use right away. And then, we'll talk a little bit about multifamily and syndication maybe one night in November. And we'll talk about like there's a KP, a GP, an LP. We'll talk about a few different things. I don't want to, and we got three different multifamily analyzers you guys can study. We don't want to get too much into it because if you guys aren't doing anything on that level, it's basically just food for thought. And it's also if you're doing EMD or anything like that, you can loan EMD on you can loan EMD on multifamily, and anything else you can do EMD on. So you don't have to just stick to single family. So if you're doing EMD for a multifamily, you may want to see how the syndication and what their paperwork is. What do they send you? What are the requirements are? Because you want to vet them. You want to vet the deals even if you vet them. And it's when you're doing a single family, obviously it's easier to vet them. You can do a single family deal in your sleep usually. If you start getting once you start getting experience, when you start getting the syndications, you guys got a lot of stuff. I'd love to get Rod Cleef on. It's just hard to get them scheduled to do anything. You guys can ever do a Rod Cleef, any kind of seminar, especially the online. He does the virtual boot camps free. They're usually like $97. They're usually like 2 days. So you can spend 16 hours studying, with Rod Cleef. That's awesome. He has his in-person one. He's just doing one in Orlando. It's like, they have different levels. You have to go live. They have different levels because they have general admission versus VIP. And VIP Platinum where you get like the steak dinners and all that, which I did, which was awesome. I always tell people that if you can do the platinums, do the highest package because you're going to get the most out of it. This is just outside of the discussion we're having tonight, but just a recommendation. If you're ever going to go to an event, do the platinum, do the VIP one because you are going to get the interaction. And believe it or not, a lot of them can be really good meals. And that you're gonna probably, if you don't do that, you're gonna spend that money at the hotel, at the restaurant anyway. And it's like, Kevin, how much money did I spend at Pitbull? Let's see if Kevin remembers the exact number.
Mhm.
All together,
I think, yeah, you were up.
$17,000 was was that Pitbull. That was the sponsor. We had
Yep.
airfare for four, one from Nashville, three from Denver, two Scottsdale and back. We had 4 nights of hotel for four people. And these are hotels that are $500, $600 a night. They're not cheap. We still had some meals there because we still had to eat around their schedule. Even though they had a VIP night, they had a breakfast catered, lunch catered, the after party because it's Sunday. It's basically Sunday and it's all day Monday. And Monday night it's over. So we had that. I had swag. My booth was almost $9,000 of it to sponsor it. That was pretty solid. That's where I met John Hornick. That's where I met Rock Capital. I talk about Rock Capital. You guys can broker for them. Awesome for lending. I got their rock360.com is their website. They also, like I said, Rock360 is great if you guys need insurance for your investment projects for any of your properties because they cover everything. So if you go to Rock360, you have to scroll. I don't know exactly where it is. It's still on the website. You can find it in the masthead. I think it's in the lower masthead. You guys can go and find their insurance. They also work with Kogo on that. If you guys are interested in correspondent lending, we'll start talking about that again. I got to get an update on what the status of that program is. If you want to be a correspondent lender, that's basically where they give you like $25 million to lend, and you lend it to people, and it's under your name, but the money comes from them. Solid deal. You make money on the spread. So that's kind of a lot of information. I know some more docs. I just want to set you guys up for next week, just being 100% direction of pay, and let's get all you guys done who want to do EMD lending. So you guys have all the tools you need finally in your toolbox. So your toolbox will be complete next week. So it'd be like going into Home Depot and getting the 2000 tool massive tool set. So we'll just kind of go around the room. Hey, Glenn, how are you doing? You got anything to add? I don't know if you, Glenn, I don't know if you hear anything from your banking contacts and stuff, anything that's going on that that might be of interest to people.
Oh, I don't have anything to add tonight, but
Oh,
just to continue to, utilize the resources that
yeah,
you have available as well as the contacts because some may be fairly new into the business, right? And
yeah,
need that navigational piece. And always look for somebody that is transparent, upfront, right?
yeah,
Uh, because I like to know all the dirty laundry ahead of time so I know how to navigate. So you have to always be mindful of the relationships that you're building out there, and the relationship that you're building are actually, well, they should be long lasting relationships. So, I just encourage all of you that is really new to and new and or in that midpoint, like you just trying to kick it off again, wherever state that you are, just continue to utilize the resources that Nate gives you, and he drops our names quite often so you can see us, myself, Willie, Casey, in the in the chats periodically, right? So you have access to people that will be able to direct you forward when any situation arises. So we
Yankee
all
win.
work together.
Yankee win.
yeah.
It's a win, girl. There we go.
Yeah,
Go
so
on
let's,
mute.
yeah, thanks, Glenn. Appreciate that. Let me ask
Okay.
Willie, and then I'll go Willie, and then I'll go to Greg, because I know you guys are set up. Willie, hey, what's going on? Are you I saw your post about coming to Colorado, so I just want to see when you're gonna be here. I don't know if you're unmuted or not. He may be somewhere else. Let me talk to Greg. Greg, are you ready to lend money now? Are you ready to do EMD?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll. So
Okay. I'll start dropping your name as well, but yeah, if you want to, mention that even in the group that you're ready to go, and if you've got any, your guidelines we talked about, you sent me the email on. I
yep.
want to get you rocking and rolling. We'll do it in the group. If you need to, if you want to do it outside, then let me know too, because I see some things coming up. I just want to make sure that you're ready to go
Okay,
before I
cool. Yeah, I'll drop
before I
something in
start
the group
bringing you people.
tomorrow.
Yeah, do that, and then even if you want a video or live, live stream or whatever, just that even helps. But if not, just post something. Hey guys, I can do EMD for you, or if you could bring a wholesaler or somebody for EMD for you.
Right. Okay, cool.
So that'd be awesome. So we'll see Marcella. Hey Marcella, how are you? Maybe just go along the group. So,
Um, sorry, go ahead.
oh, so I got you that link, so I'm gonna try to look into that tomorrow. So everybody knows Marcella's having some issues. I guess she's not seeing the some of the posts, so we're gonna try to look into that tomorrow and see what it's doing to maybe a Facebook thing. But like I said, if anybody is watching and you're missing posts and feel that, reach out to me, because if I know that, I'll make sure I tag you guys when I post it, at least until, because if it's a Facebook thing, it's it, Kevin can tell you we don't see a whole lot of those kind of things in our admin and moderator dashboards. So it's good. Thank you for letting me know that today, so I can make sure you got the link. Guys, I'm always like here, you guys know I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. So I try to respond back within, if I get it. If it's between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., even sometimes later, I will try to get back to you within a minute or two. There are some things I can't control Facebook if they have a glitch or something, but I will try to do what I can to give you the links and make sure you guys got the post. I do owe the group about 5 videos from July and August that I got to go put in the chats, and a lot of these, because I do have a chat where I try to put all the videos going back to January. So if you guys want to go see the ones from January, if you go to the YouTube, those are only the public one. There's a few that I've posted for promotion, but everything's public side there. And I don't do a whole lot of public side anymore. I will be doing some more later on when we get to virtual. Obviously, I'm going up, when I go to virtual, it's it's all like material that needs to be like accessed only by the people, the members, so we're going to be putting a lot of information in there that the public won't have access to. When we do public stuff in the future, it'll be just really very generic, very baseline. So I do thank you, Marcelo, for reaching out to me about that, because I want to make sure that we got 88 people. I want to have 88 people on here. We do see, I do, like I said last week, I do see watch hours. I can see that on YouTube. I can't see that on Facebook. It tells me that we had 43 watch hours. I think one night we had 35. That was off the video like the next day or a couple of days. So I could see those views and I could see those watch hours. We're never going to monetize. If you guys know, if we monetize, it takes 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 watch hours or 4,000 watch hours. And I saw where Dr. Phil was talking to a kid. I think his mom brought him on Dr. Phil. He was like 19. He was at home trying to just live off YouTube. And Dr. Phil's like, if you get 1 million views, you only get paid like $600. He was like telling him you don't make like millions of dollars off of YouTube like a lot of people. You can, but most people don't. I think maybe Coach Prime's son probably makes a lot of money because he has like everything he's doing. So yeah, reach out to me, guys. That's the point of this last few minutes. Reach out to me if you can't see posts, if you think that you're missing posts, if you're missing videos, if you need anything, reach out because I try to get you access to them individually if I have to, but I'm trying to hopefully that everybody can get them in the group. Keep in mind on Mondays and Wednesdays, I will post a link for the night. I'm trying not to have to do that on Messenger because with 88 people, I don't want to have like 30 people that don't see it in the group and I miss a couple people, because that does happen. You guys can imagine when you have, imagine being in Jim's group and having thousands of people and you potentially can miss people, and it just happens. I mean, it's like good when I talk. There's people in the group we don't hear from because they're out there busy or whatever. It's not that they're not here participating. They're actually, some people are using the group just for the resources they can download. I mean, literally, that's all they're using it for. And so I talk to them, Kevin talks to them and stuff, but you guys may never. There's some people you'll probably never actually come in contact with. You guys see on the members list. There's like, who's that? So that's a good thing to make up. Ginger, how are you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, just ready to get started. And I'll be here next week, but the week after, I'm actually going up to Idaho to Lee Arnold's masterclass. So, yeah. So after that, I want to really get going on it. They're going to help me with my website and all that stuff as well. So
Yeah, no, they're awesome, and yeah, definitely say hi to Gary Myers for me and
I
Kevin.
will. Yeah, I will.
Gary's awesome.
Yeah, and when you see Lee, just
Uh-huh.
tell him I forgive him and all is well, and he can come back to Kansas City anytime he wants. And yeah,
Okay.
he'll go.
Should I be going what?
No,
He'll be going,
yeah,
"Who?"
just like I told Gary, you can drop our names
Gary's
and
pretty
stuff. But,
cool.
yeah.
That's another one to say hi
There's
to.
a few people that we dealt with that left. Some of the account people like Valentine and stuff. Who was my rep? He left. He left about it right around COVID. So there's some people there
okay.
that I haven't dealt with a lot.
Yeah.
That are I dealt with Gary because he was in our he was our broker guy. He
Yeah.
did our presentation, our planning tours, and all that stuff. So yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know if you've been to Idaho. I've never been to Idaho. I've been up
I've
to.
never been. Well, maybe driving through, but
Are
I
you
have some
going? You're
friends.
flying to Spokane?
I'm flying to Spokane, and then I'm actually
Mhm.
going down to Boise because I have some friends down there, and then I'm flying out of Boise. So after I get done with the class, but yeah, it's gonna be.
And then when you're a master broker, make sure obviously get your resources, what you can provide to the group.
Yeah,
Because
I'll have that.
That's
I'll
our
have
tool.
100% fix and flip, and yeah, so 90. Actually, I think I have 100% as well for lending as well. So
Yeah, so anybody who's not watching, she's gonna have an incredible amount of tools from Kogo. And that's obviously a huge thing. If we don't have anybody else at Kogo, we'll have her at least.
Yep.
They have phenomenal. They also, I hope they're still doing. I'm not sure if they're still doing the reimbursement. They were
yes,
doing.
they are. If I do
Yeah.
six deals, then I get my reimbursement from my
Yeah.
training.
Yeah,
Yes.
so guys, they actually like literally bring them back up and give them a big like lottery check. The big ones that like are like 10 feet wide. They give them their money back for
Yeah.
their master broker, master lien abatement, master whatever. They have like a lot of master programs, Circle of Wealth. So she will have 100% across the board financing from Togo, which is a huge tool.
I'm also brokering for RCN, and I'm signing up with a couple more. So I'll have those guys as well.
Yeah, and try to see if you can get into Rock and Vizio.
Okay, Rock and Vizio.
Rock and Vizio, and then also, obviously, if you want to do stuff with Casey and
Yeah, I talked to them last night because I kind of got in the RV world there for a little bit. I
Yeah.
had one under contract, but I had to kind of back out of it because they were just kind of wanting a little too much for what it was. And so it was my first deal ever, you know. So I was like, but anyway, I ended up getting out of the contract, but I made a lot of connections in the RV world. So I asked Casey about that, and he said they lend for RV parks and stuff. So he's gonna actually make me a flyer and push it to some of the RV guys. So
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that'd be huge because
yeah,
I get some of those too, and I
yeah,
need places to put things.
right,
Like I'm telling you guys, everybody doesn't. You guys want to think what you guys get in your inbox. I just said this earlier. Believe it or
yeah,
not, what I get in my inbox, and
right.
like 80% of it's like, hey, did you go to like? Is this like? You guys have all seen Back to School. Remember when the professor's up there, the business guy, and he's writing on, and Rodney Dangerfield's like, he's like, where can we build this? And he's like, how about Fantasyland?
Yeah.
That's why I think most of these guys. That's one. I forget that verbatim. That's one of my favorite movies. Like I always wanted to go to. I really wanted to go to the Thornton Mellon School of Business. Like bribes and mafia kickbacks.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a lot of. I just miss all those great movies. Like
Yeah,
you
they
guys
don't make
know,
them like they used
this is outside the conversation, but you guys know with this F-35 that went missing. Somebody comes up with Captain Stillman from Stripes when he walks into the the hangar and the EM-50's missing. He goes, "Where the, where
to. Yeah.
who, like drops the F word. It's my
Yeah.
truck." And it's like today I saw one. And they said the F-35 is stealth, and they had like one of those noses, like the Groucho noses, the mustache is over
Yeah, I
the
saw
side.
that on Facebook.
And it's like, hey, it's in stealth mode. That's why they couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot more, guys. I mean, I appreciate you guys sticking with me for docs. Docs suck. We're gonna do analyzers. You just gotta do paperwork. The paperwork's essential. And like I said, I kind of reemphasize. I want to go through them word by word, but I would not be good at that. So I try to make sure I just kind of highlight some areas, and you guys can download them. And then once we're building your business package individually, then you guys just get your 5, 6, 8 forms, whatever you need specifically. But then if you need something else eventually, maybe you need something else or you change and you need a different strategy or something, then you've got them in files. That's what the script is about. Is you can do one strategy, but if that square peg doesn't hit that square hole, because there's a round hole, then you can adapt. You can go to the files tab, just like you can go to Casey's company and adapt. So we're always trying to make sure that you've got every ability. Any real estate investor, whether they're brand new, or if they've done 1,000 flips, or they've done 0, should be able to pivot strategies, funding strategies, acquisition strategies, resources, connections, relationships. So got a couple more people, and then I will. Doris, how are you?
I'm doing good. I think I finally found a place.
Cool.
Uh,
This is great news. I just peeked my head up. This is news
yeah,
I've been waiting for like 2 months.
I know it called the Workplace Hub,
Okay.
and it's actually have a contract under Opus,
Okay. I think
and
I've heard of them.
and I actually went to the location today, and it's not a bad place. It's a good place for me to go pick up mail and whatnot, and um, Opus is going
Cool.
to waive the setup fee, and it's only going to be $100 a month.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, so the only thing I have to do now is have to find a registered agent here. I'm gonna get rid of the one that I have in Wyoming because they didn't
Yeah.
notify me when stuff was due,
Oh,
and
they didn't.
I don't have a dashboard or anything with them, so I'm not behind the 8 ball with that one. But
Okay.
I figured that what I could do is uh, do what we discussed before, but I don't want my name on the Pennsylvania
Yeah.
one.
And then keep in mind if you want to do referrals or brokering for Casey's company, they probably are pretty simple to set up.
Yeah, I do. I reached out to him, but
Yeah. So
I didn't get a response because I was going back to some of my old groups that I was hanging
yeah.
out with to let them know. And um, Casey was giving me the impression that they were going to have a date where all the people from this group could on board at the same time. But I haven't heard anything about it since
Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. So yeah, and Glenn posted that with that company that works so if you guys use that resource as well. Yeah, I'll talk to Casey about it because I got a number of people. I mean, I'm actually trying to get my all that stuff with him as well, because like I said, I can just start referring stuff. I try to send it to you guys as well if I see stuff that'll fit in your wheelhouse if you're a lender or something like that. But obviously I've got you guys and I've got a lot of other people. I'm trying to stop doing a lot of lenders that I've worked for in the past just because I think their company's strong and I can send a lot of stuff to you guys as well.
Mm,
So you guys get some deals and stuff. So that's cool. That
yeah.
works. How are you?
Hey, I got one more question.
Oh, okay.
Um, I know you keep mentioning that we have to set up squeeze pages or 30-second blips about yourself and what you can do.
Yep.
I'm a little bit on the camera shy side, so how do I go about doing that?
I mean, if you're just obviously it's different if you're outside of the group. If you're in the group, everybody knows you, but just do what you're comfortable with. Just write a text thing, or if you got a picture you feel comfortable with. If not, hey, make something in Canva. You can get the free version. You can also get the paid version on the trial, and there's ways to extend it out 6 months, like I did, which was kind of, I'm not going to tell the story. I don't need it to be known by them how I got 6 months of Canva for free. I also managed to do that with my Amazon account, which is weird. How I got 6 months of Amazon Prime for free.
Mm,
But yeah, let's figure that one out.
okay. Yeah, so I was a little thrilled that I think I finally got I'm beginning to get Pennsylvania set up.
Because if you can just make something in Canva, you can make like a Facebook post. That's what I do with those ones you guys see with me.
Uh-huh.
It's all Canva. You can just
What
go in
is
there and
it?
you can make a Facebook landscape post.
Even your
Canva.com. So I'll just
even
write
your
it yeah, I'll go in the chat.
even your keg?
Yeah, and let me try to remember what Jim's group is, Glenn. There's some things I don't remember like off the top of my head because I'm just go there. Like let me look it up real quick on my phone so I can make sure I'm right. Because there's another group that has a similar name, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, man. Sometimes I see that all the time. We'll make sure if I can
What's
make sure
Jim's last name?
Ingersoll. Let me post
Ingersoll.
that. You
Okay.
guys can find Jim Ingersoll and John Morey. I'll put their names in there and I'll try to
Okay.
I may just post it in the group as well, just so everybody can see it. Because I recommend, and they do sharing Saturday, and Jim posts it. So fine, you want to find his post when he makes it, and put your sharing stuff on his post, do an introduction. That way, it's on his. That's where you can share anything, your Facebook page, your Instagram, whatever.
Okay.
And Jim Ingersoll and John Morey. Um, I'll post in the group. That way, everybody can find it. I'll just put the link in there and then you guys can you have to join it and all that stuff, and then just message them and find them and tell them yeah you're in my group and all that stuff, and just sharing Saturday is a good way to come out and introduce yourself.
Okay.
It's really good for anybody who's um obviously 350,000 people. It's well monitored, well moderated for that being a group. I mean, for 300,000 people, it's better moderated than groups with 100 people. They do a really good job, but keep in mind you've still got a lot of strong opinions out there.
Yeah.
So I sometimes have to be like really careful. Like I don't want to like tell people that like I used to do that all the time. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to be more politically correct even in this business now. Because people are like, I've had people call me up and say, hey, I see you everywhere. And they want to see we had another clarification too. People were asking about the $3.99 and they thought there's people that thought it was $3.99 a month. And they were like, oh now I know it's $3.99 one time. I want to join. I'm like, you should have asked me like 4 months ago when you were talking to me. I don't like doing the monthly things, and I don't like charging a whole lot because I don't want to charge anything. Well, like what Koga charges, what Lee charges.
Yeah.
I don't want to charge any more than I got charged for that 40-hour class. I paid $1,500,
Mhm.
and I thought that was pretty fair. If I just never want to charge for more than what I paid. Yeah, Doris, that's cool. So Glenn, if you guys want to communicate, I'll make sure that stays up there. Guys, sharing resources is awesome. So I'll post that. It'll take me probably an hour and a half to have the video posted, but I'll have the link to Jim's group posted right away.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Just like I said, yeah, just reach out to him and all that too. He's awesome. He's in Virginia. He also does host a deal maker class conference every year. He had probably 1,000 people go to it. And John Morey's doing his first ever, and maybe this week. I don't know. I've seen him post about it. John's doing the Southern Charm Real Estate. I think he's in Alabama. Jim's
Okay.
and Jim is in Virginia,
Okay.
so Richmond. So I'm
Okay.
trying to remember where all these people are because you know I'm in like I think I'm in like 300 real estate groups.
Yeah, I'm in Texas, so I'm close to Dallas. So
Yeah. So see, Willie, are you on? I tried to unmute you earlier.
he said he was working, so maybe.
I'll reach out to him later. I just need to see when he's gonna be in Colorado, so we can.
Oh, I was
Okay.
just posting that because the Colorado's being popular.
Oh,
I've
you're
got
not.
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
You know
Oh, that's
how
what
you
I was
take
wondering
something
because I was
viral
like,
and go with it.
yeah, because I was like, hey, cool, we can go. We can hit some stuff up.
I'm begging for tickets now.
Cool. No, man, no, that's cool.
My buddy coaches for
Push up,
Colorado.
Willie.
Oh, yeah.
Doris,
Yes, sir.
you're gonna have to get uncomfortable. You're gonna have to do what you're uncomfortable with doing, which is get on camera and start making some posts. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I know you said you're camera shy, but you're gonna
Well,
listen.
I
Closed mouths
tend
don't get fed.
I tend to stutter.
Well, it's
Well,
okay.
but you know, and we encourage you to do it in the group because everybody knows you here. Everybody talks to you, so you're gonna have love in the group. Just start
Slow
maybe not
down.
yeah.
Yeah, Bill Self of the Kansas Jayhawks tends to stutter too.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too much let's Doris, we'll help you. So don't that. Everybody who wants you to so we'll
Yeah, I
bring
don't
you
like the camera either, so don't feel bad.
and you can kind of ease your way into it. Start with some text posts and you do some of those ads, those display ads. Actually, I see Willie's background was one of our display ads today. Use some of those and start just breaking yourself in and you know, hey, people like that. People like people who are more approachable. And I think, people who are, guys, you guys see it in the business. And I've had people compliment me on it. The reason they came to me and they started looking at our group and the stuff that I'm doing is because they said that you were like the most real person I saw on YouTube. I wasn't out there. I'm not in a flashy studio. I'm not like, I don't have a Ferrari sitting behind me that I don't own. That I'm like, hey, here's my Lamborghini. It's actually like, if you see, there was a guy that did this and he did it at the Ferrari dealership in Denver, and he said it's also Bentley. He had a Bentley in his picture. Said, "Oh, look at my new Bentley." Well, it turns out it was at the Ferrari Bentley dealership. There's a wall where they take the picture of the guy buying his new Bentley. And I knew this because my dad was my dad's company does health insurance, and that was the Ferrari dealer was one of his clients. And so one of his buddies and my dad has a couple like Rolls Royces and Bentleys from like the 40s. If you haven't seen my dad's car collection,
Mhm.
so pretty 9 cars, pretty cool. He has so the guy took a picture at the Ferrari dealership. Turns out the Bentley actually belonged to Demaryius Thomas. If you guys remember, Demaryius Thomas was a receiver for the Broncos when they won the Super Bowl like 7 years ago. Or 88. He actually died last year. He was really young in his 30s. It was like his family found dead in his house. It's a sad story, but the guy took a picture of his Bentley and sort of blasted it out. Hey, look, I finally got my Bentley. It was Demaryius Thomas's Bentley. My dad saw that and said, "Oh, that's the dealer," because my dad's client for 30 years. So people do that. These gurus do that. You guys heard of BitBoy? There's a guy, a Bitcoin promoter on Twitter, all over Twitter and YouTube. He has a Lamborghini and just got his Lamborghini repossessed and all that stuff. And he was out there, I'm going to be a billionaire in crypto. He's got a lot of people hating him in crypto. He's some like loud, people don't like, I don't want to be loud and I'm not, I don't want to be out there like some of the Gators are that way. That's why I got a little bit feeling they're a little too aggressive. I'd rather be real and tell people what's going on. And hey, this is I've collected all these resources over 5 years. It's almost 6 years, and it's like I want to spread the knowledge, spread the wealth, and it's not like the virtual platform will be our back end. We're gonna make a lot of money off that, so it's gonna be our back end. If we had gotten it done, if it wasn't for COVID, we probably would have already had that up 3 years ago, and we'd probably have 20,000 people on it. That's what we're projecting to build over 3 years because people will flock to that once it's there, and they can log in at 3 o'clock in the morning and do modules and learning and get access to lenders, get access to you guys. You guys will be sitting there waiting for them. You'll be able to help them out. You guys are lending money. We're going to have people just coming out of the woodwork when they join the virtual program. They'll get introduced to all of our lenders. We'll have a lender we'll have a profile for every lender. Everybody's doing EMD gap, first position, everything. Everybody will have a profile and an introduction video and saying, hey, this is what I do. This is how to contact me. This is how to do it. We'll have lender nights. And, I want to, I'd like to do more where you guys are hosting stuff. And then, if somebody wants to do stuff on Tuesdays, maybe when people are available on Tuesdays, I try not to, I'm trying to set 2 days aside to do these because I don't want to be doing, because we'd all get burned out. Kevin and I did this. We're up to like 3 days a week, sometimes even 4 during the pandemic when we did this first class.
You
We
didn't
went,
know which way was up by the time you got through the
no,
gates.
we'd be like, seriously, like we did like Monday night, we did like Tuesday, we did Thursday. We were doing a Saturday morning one at 1. And it's like, it's really hard to do things on Saturday morning.
Yeah, that was the makeup one that we had set up for everybody that couldn't make it through the week. Not that we didn't have enough possibilities for them to get there, but we had to have one on Saturday too.
Yeah, it's just easy. It's just easier to roll people into it and then do a recap and start again and do like, hey, if you guys don't need a recap, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Take a couple weeks off. We'll get some new people in.
Now we
get them caught
have
up.
the power of recorded video.
Yeah, we are recording them. I didn't start the YouTube till last year, so we didn't have a YouTube channel where I could put the public ones. But I also have the unlisted ones where I can give you guys a link. So we didn't have that either, and that probably would have helped. Because I was just like at YouTube. I used to associate it just say I'm going to go make money off YouTube. Instead, I just use it because it's the easiest platform. I can take the Zoom video and I can upload. I could actually right now I could actually live stream this on YouTube and record it to YouTube straight. But there's some things like, and there's a lot of stuff I can do that I want to do there. And Zoom, there's a lot of apps. So it's just like I'd like just to be real and just keep it simple. It's not, it's not rocket science. I used to have a friend that
you see all these people out here trying to make it that way, and that's part of the problem that we're fighting is the scammers and people trying to overcomplicate something that was so simple that even a kid could do it, right? But anything that they can do to complicate it so they can get an edge in there and find a way of taking advantage of people. And that's one of the things about private money that we're really hard against is doing that. We're about simplifying everything, taking the stress off the deals. Who loses if you're taking it 40 years out, okay? You're still getting your interest, but who's going to lose if the economy gets screwed up between here and there and you've got it so stacked up against it that it will not make it, it won't work. You're trying to refi wrong, or you're refining into a refi market from hell, which is basically what's going on with the folks in the commercial end. I mean, the regular banks are wishing they'd never done that. It's all about keeping it simple and keeping it direct, and friendly and open communications. There's no need for all this nonsense.
you guys know, like they have it.
My soapbox here on recorded video. Yeah. Radio.
You guys remember we used to have? There's a principle Kevin kind of alluded to. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, and it was created as a term created by the Sante Raiders. The guys that were trained to they were going to go rescue the POWs in Vietnam, and of course, the Vietnamese moved them like within 24 hours of the raid. But it made a big impression on the Vietnam because they the Viet Cong finally realized that we were going to come after and rescue our people, but they created a patch that said "piss" and people didn't know what it was, and it said "keep it simple, stupid." You guys want to know how much stuff in special operations was done for like guys who just like Richard Marcinko broke into an office at the vice, I remember, chief of naval operations office at the Pentagon. He broke in. He was a commander. He broke in and actually changed wording on a document to approve SEAL Team 6. Originally, SEAL Team 6 was only going to have like 20 guys, and it was a short term. He went in there and actually got on the computer of the vice chief of naval operations, the secretary, and changed the document, and he signed the admiral, the 4-star admiral, the next day signed the document the way he wanted it to be signed. He didn't even read it because he already read it the day before he went and changed it. But SEAL Team 6 got, that guy was like, you guys read his book called The Rogue Warrior. He did a lot of stuff that he actually ended up at one point going to prison for 2 years after retiring from the Navy because he did a bunch of stuff that was like really, but he was the guy that founded SEAL Team 6. And he said that he didn't want to go out and find the superstars from Buds and from all this. He wanted to go find the guys that were like scraping to get by. He said, those are the guys I want because those are the guys who are going to fight for those guys are going to fight for everything. That's the initial grip. Obviously now it's, 30 years later, Yes, so there's only been like 2,000, a little over 2,000 members of Delta Force, and they've been around 40 years. That's how few people are in that. So I know a lot of people in that. I do a lot of stuff, tier two kind of stuff. They're all tier one. There's a lot of cool stuff. Those guys did a lot of stuff when they were getting founded. That was like behind the backs of generals and admirals that were like kind of approving. Like, okay, I'm thinking about it. Well, it got fully approved somehow. Those guys are, obviously those are the guys you want when you go to war, because those are the guys who figure shit out. So I think we're done tonight, unless anybody has any questions. I appreciate tonight. Yeah, we're doing direction to pay next week, and then you guys are all ready to roll. And then we'll do analyzers in October and securities and raising capital in November. And we'll do a capstone November 16th, and then we're done for the year. When you guys come back in January, virtual will be up. Probably about the second or third week in January, we'll have the virtual program up. And obviously there may be some bugs and glitches. Lightspeed does a really good job. There's very few of them, but you guys will be in there so you guys can beta test it and give feedback on it for the first, probably a couple months while we beta. And then as we get people in, we'll start doing revenue share probably about 3 months into it. It won't be, you might get $50, and a couple months later you might get 200, whatever a month, but we're gonna do revenue share. So, yeah, guys, I appreciate it. So anybody has anything, if you guys gonna, like I said, if you have any glitches out there, you think you're missing posts or videos or things like that, just reach out. I'll try to get them to you directly, and I'll try to link you and then in the group until, for whatever reason, I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't. I tried to troubleshoot Marcella today, and I just have to send her links and make sure she's tagged, and then she'll get them. But if you guys need help, let me know. Other than that, guys, I'm pretty much done. Let me see if there's any questions.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion for hey, Doris, don't worry about like that. If you're shy, we'll help you out. If you guys,
Okay, I appreciate that.
that we
Yeah.
want you to succeed. Take it as slow as I mean,
Definitely.
think about the King of England. You guys heard that story? The guy that was like Queen Elizabeth's dad, who wasn't supposed to be king because his brother abdicated. Um, he kind of got pressed into that, and he was really horrible. He was a really bad stutter. He turned out to be one of the best guys ever to have that. Obviously his daughter was queen for what, 60 years, 75 years. So
Mhm.
he's a really good guy. I've studied his. He was kind of cool because he wasn't. He was the spare. He was like Prince Harry. He was the spare. He wasn't ever supposed to have that job, which is, I don't know. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. I will talk to you guys some more on Facebook or
Alrighty.
beyond. All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Okay.